There you go. Now we're still.
That's all I'm saying.
Hey guys, welcome back to One Team One Dream. This is your host Ali, and with me as always is Salman. So welcome, and we're gonna sort of go over all the World Cup matches that happened so far. The quick recap. So last we left off, you guys watched it. We were talking about what's gonna happen with Bangladesh and Pakistan, and Bangladesh was playing South Africa, and Pakistan was playing England. So Salman here sort of bet on the team called what are their names are?
I bet on the winning horses, but as you know, it doesn't work out that way. Probability is a funny thing. You know, that 50-50 chance is never 50-50.
Yeah, favorite on my side. So just quickly going on the recap. So as far you guys already know the matches, England versus South Africa, the first match. Obviously England won 311 to 207 is like a knockout. Pakistan again played against West Indies, same situation, couldn't really put up a score. West Indies got them out and down, and they had 108, so they even had 3 extra points. Now then Sri Lanka, New Zealand. Sri Lanka obviously lost, couldn't really put up a score. New Zealand for no losses put 137. That's a quick wrap. And Afghanistan versus Australia, same thing. It looked like early matches nobody was able to put a lot of runs on. So it was the pitch, could be the jitters, could be the weather, it could be they came off from a different platform. And we both spoke about the 2020 format sort of ruining the whole essence of a one-day cricket. They don't have the muster to get through the whole 50 overs, right? Then you want to lead off for the rest that we have up until the ones that you didn't predict accurately.
I mean, going forward, so Bangladesh won against South Africa. Bangladesh put up a huge total, 330, which is a bit unexpected how they played in the warm-up matches, at least on my part. But what can I say? And then Pakistan also beat England. It was a surprise of a match. I mean, Pakistan had been consistently putting up those 300-plus scores,
right,
and England was able to chase. But this time around, Pakistani bowling came through. After that, Sri Lanka versus Afghanistan. It was a close one for Sri Lanka, not putting up much of a score. What was it? 201.
Right, 201, and Afghanistan was 152.
Yep.
And then your team, bro, South Africa versus.
So South Africa is usually known to be chokers in semifinals. This year, they're like, we didn't even come to, take that title. We want that title gone. We're just going to choke from the get-go.
Yeah.
And they scored 227 against India, which they easily chased for 4 outs, 230. 47 overs. I mean, they were cruising. Doesn't look like they were really worried at that point.
Right.
And
so then we got the following matches were again Bangladesh versus New Zealand. That was again another. It wasn't that big of a total to chase, but it looks like New Zealand was able to capture with 248. I mean, Bangladesh, as I'm saying again, South Asian teams tend to have heart to sort of push them through. It's a make or break. Their consistency sometimes sort of lacks, but again, that's the X factor that gets them into the finals, that gets them into the semifinals, that gets them in past the qualifiers. And obviously, so the next was Australia, West Indies. Again, they didn't put up the score that were like some amazing numbers.
I mean, Australia in that match was they struggled. It was 72 for 5, I want to say. And
including your future, Don Bradman. How's that doing?
I mean, Steve Smith is playing like Steve Smith.
Yeah.
But then West Indies also sputtered. It was an interesting match. It wasn't It wasn't as one-sided as the score might show.
Right. I mean, the score doesn't show much. I mean, they're still going to 280s. For us, having watched some of these matches, 280 is not really something like, oh my God, it's wow factor. It's a 90s kind of score, right?
Exactly.
90s was like, oh man, they did 300. Dang, we're not going to make it. Now, 20 years fast forward, almost 30 years fast forward, right? 30 years fast forward, I'm not giving up my age. But now we're at a point where these numbers are sort of not in the normal. They fall somewhere in the... They're not outliers. They fall right in the middle of the bell curve. So Then we've got
The Pakistan versus Sri Lanka match, which was rained
rained
out.
out. So you have. So what's your take on this? Like, who was the more
So Pakistan head-to-head has been 7-0 in World Cup matches
Right.
against Sri Lanka. So I mean, it was essentially a free win for Sri Lanka, getting a point. I mean, maybe they could have performed it, cricket by luck.
yeah? But so okay, I mean I respect the stats. I think it makes sense that it did go in their favor. It could have gone the other way. Pakistan is known, and Sri Lanka or South Asian team, they're known to collapse under pressure. Like the first match showed, they like literally nobody wants to bat. It was not the way Pakistan normally bats. We get a couple of guys who stand in, put on some decent total, and then move on. The rest of the team sort of picks up. Then England versus Bangladesh, man, that was a whooping.
I'm just saying, man. I told you that Bangladeshi team seemed suspect, and it finally kicked in.
Shakib Al Hassan.
I mean, he performed,
Right.
but the problem is the rest of the team, the surrounding cast.
But 386, there's no way.
Yeah, it was a really tough total. If they were going to chase, it'd be the highest chase.
Ever.
Yeah.
Well, that's what happened with Pakistan versus England, right?
Yeah.
They basically put up a score which is 350. Again, thinking it's going to be quick wrap. Nope. It's a chase, and especially the platform. Maybe it's the jitters. You're in the world stage. Some of the teams like South Africa, like, oh, we're out. We're not really here to get the ball, or they might have some other issues, but they're not performing to their expectations.
I mean, what's his name? A.B. de Villiers was like, yeah, I want to play in the World Cup, and management was like, no. So maybe he would have made a difference. I mean, he's known to be a batsman.
AB definitely would have. I mean, it's like there's so many factors that go into play that could make some differences as far as the outcome. But management tends to pick what they want, what they favor, what they've seen, what they see as consistency or the better producer in these World Cup matches. But again, so now then we've got Afghanistan versus New Zealand and India versus Australia. So, well, let's pick both of them apart. I mean, Afghanistan doesn't look like they're...
Afghanistan, they qualified for the tournament, and they're underdogs regardless of,
Right.
Who they play. They gave West Indies the run for the money in the tournament for the qualifier for the World Cup.
Right.
But their batting is suspect. I mean,
Right.
I looked at the match highlights, and their opener, Hazratullah, was playing well, but there was like a misfield. Otherwise,
Right.
he would have been out earlier. And then the rest of the batting lineup really did collapse. There's the issue with their wicket keeper, right? There's that controversy going on right now where they supposedly didn't let him play, or they called him back. He was there for the warm-up match.
Right.
And they said he's unfit, but he's saying that he's fit. And supposedly they're like, he's
not Afghani. He's
Yeah.
actually Pakistani. Okay, I heard that too. I agree with that. That he's playing for a team. It's like many. So correlating to the U.S. sports, right? So we've got the football, baseball. We've got basketball. So and in the United States is all these different states playing together. So you get the talent, you let the talent play. This is a world platform. I don't think any team across the board. I mean, look at world soccer, right? Football, World Cup. You have all these teams playing for their own, but they get to play. So one of the players that I can't remember the name off the cuff, he played for 3 different countries in World Cup platform. And so you really have to look at what your end goal is. If it meets a rule, it meets expectation, you got to put the ego on the side and actually let the person play.
Yeah, I mean, if he has citizenship of a country, he should be allowed to play.
Right, the UAE people are not native, but they play for UAE, so I agree with that. And then the last match thus far, or the second last match that we know of, is India and Australia. I think India really showcased that they have the ability. I mean, Australia is not playing their top game, but they have the ability to control. Their fielding was on point.
Yep,
right?
they did save a lot of runs.
They controlled the field really well. They put up a good score, and then they controlled it. Some controversy as far as that game goes, right? The ball tampering.
Zampa.
Yeah. So again, some controversy. Luckily, we don't have any South Asian teams like Sri Lanka, Pakistan, Bangladesh, to name a few. I don't think India's been there too much, but this to namesake India as well. So they're not the name wise. It's Australia this time. What will happen? We'll see. Let's see what Ponting says. He was very vocal about other teams and what they did and what their tampering looks like. Now you're behind. I believe he's the coach, right, for Australia, Ricky Ponting. What is he? The batting coach, right? Because I saw him in the World Cup.
Oh, okay.
But he's part of the management. So let's see what he has to say. And really, does he be earnest enough to say, look, it happened. We're gonna address it, and how strict or stern will be for his own team at this platform. I'm just looking at that. The other match that we had, it got rained out, right? The last one we have.
So we had 1-0 result,
Right.
which was South Africa versus West Indies.
What does that mean? No result.
Yeah, that's an excellent question. So
I'm just trying to wonder.
I know in draw, you get a point, but in no result.
So my guess is this, just if I'm thinking accurately, if nobody played, and we got to look at the rules, right? We can sort of look it up.
Yep.
But essentially was if there were not enough overs played, or one team just played for less than 10. Let's just say my
They started the match and then
they never continued to a certain point. Like certain overs weren't bowled, they just don't give any points, and it's not clear enough to decide.
So probably similar to a draw where it's 1-1.
So just to sort of pick up what the World Cup stage looks like at this point in time, and I believe we're on match number
The 17th match now.
So 17th match, which is Australia versus Pakistan, India versus New Zealand. Again, we'll give our little quick prediction, but let's just give you a breakdown of what the scorecard looks like for the world stage for all the teams. So New Zealand, if you want to run them off.
Yep. So New Zealand's at the top with 6 points. They have 3 wins, no losses.
Right.
And England is in second place with 2 wins, 1 loss. India's in third place with 2 wins, no losses because they both have 4 points until India plays its next match. Australia's in fourth place with 2 wins, 1 loss at 4 points. We have like a 5-way tie at second place if you want to look at that.
Mm-hmm.
Or in this case, nope, I stand corrected.
It's 4-way tie.
4-way tie.
4-way tie, right.
And it's not really in second place because the net run rate takes into...
Right, so the network, it plays a part, but as far as point tables, if you have more points, the run rate won't matter.
Yep. So first is New Zealand once again, 3-0. England 2-1 with 4 points. I think we should read cut the.
Okay, let's do it from the top.
Yeah,
3,
but you want to
2, 1.
just run it down.
Okay, just a quick breakdown on what's going on with this at this stage. After 17 matches have been played, we're playing the 17th one, I believe, at 5:30 tomorrow morning. Wow, it's gonna be fun to watch. Maybe we'll stream that, but let's hope. Now, New Zealand is at top of the order. 3 matches played, 3-1, no losses, 6 points, and it also has the highest net run rate. Then it goes England, just in the order. I'm giving you the points. England with 4 points. They played 3 matches, 2 losses, 2 wins, 1 losses. India had 2 games that played thus far, and both are wins, so they have 4 points. And then Australia played 3 matches, 1-2, lost 1 against India. And so that will also put it at 4 points. Then we got Sri Lanka. It played 4 matches and it won 1, lost 1, and has 4 points. So I guess there's some 2 points.
1 draw, 1 no result.
No result. So that's a benefit. They got
actually no 2 draws because they played Bangladesh and it rained out, and they played us and it rained out.
Okay, so they benefited again. That's what we spoke about earlier. So Sri Lanka with 4 points, West Indies with 3 points. They played 3. They won 1, lost 1, and was a draw against us, obviously. Right? No, who was a draw against West Indies?
The draw was against South Africa.
South Africa.
So South Africa benefited. You see,
they got 1 point.
They're still in it.
So 2 other teams, Bangladesh, 4 matches played, 1 won, 2 losses, and it has 3 points. Pakistan is now on that. Played 3 matches, 1 win, 1 loss, 1 draw. South Africa, 4 matches, no wins, 3 losses, and a draw. And Afghanistan is the bottom of this table with not just only net run rate, but also the matches they lost. They lost 3 matches they played so far. So that's just a breakdown on what's going on. Now, is this part of our segment, we sort of have a little bit of a just between me and him saying what Salman picked, what I pick as far as who's going to win the next, let's just do 4 matches. That works?
Yeah, sounds good.
So, Australia, Pakistan, I'm going for Pakistan again. As natural, or you want to pick up Pakistan this time? Aussies, man.
I was wrong last time, so it doesn't hurt. I'm pretty sure I'm going to be disappointed. That's how this goes for me.
So, you're Australia now?
I think this is working well. Let's just go with Australia. And
okay, let's go Australia.
It seems the opposite happens for me.
Okay, I hope it does. No, I mean, just Pakistan. I mean, personally, I want Pakistan to be represented in that platform and at that stage, so hopefully it turns out that way. So, how about India versus New Zealand?
So, I mean, for competitive sake, New Zealand is at the top with 3 wins, so they're not really affected by a loss. A loss for India puts them closer to Pakistan. That's where I want to lean towards.
Yeah.
But they're both pretty strong teams.
Yeah, that's what I'm seeing with the matches. But
I mean, Shikhar Dhawan is actually injured supposedly for 3 weeks, so who are they going to put in his place? That's the real concern.
Right.
I mean, I want to give it to New Zealand. They've just been in form.
Okay.
So
they've been in form and they haven't lost, and they're being consistent.
I mean, you know, when you're riding that high.
I hope they keep riding. In this case, I will see. Let's see what India sort of produces, because the match that they played, Australia specifically sort of struck a chord. But I mean, they're showing a level of field control. They're showing a level of batting, and their bowling is very consistent. I mean, they controlled that first 10 overs so well with their bowling that Australia had to play catch up. That was horrible.
No comment on that. I feel like there was other powers at play, but that's my personal.
We're saying officially what we can see in the far. So for argument's sake, whatever we can see during the play field. Obviously, there are other factors that we will discuss at some Instagram we're checking out. So behind us, just so you guys know, we have these phrases, the stupidest things I ever said. Just to sort of switch it up before we get our next two. Don't worry about the game you just won, or the team that we just blew out, or blown, or blowed out. Let's think about what we need to do going forward. And they had a blown out. This is a football commentator named Emmett Smith. I don't think that's not really blowing anything. Let's try another one. On animal books. Weird. Second-hand parrot, a complete owner's pet manual. So not a first-hand. You get used parrots. Neurosis-induced cannibalism in Antarctic pigs.
Actual book titles. Well, that was interesting. I see why this is seated behind us for a reason.
Neurosis. So we're studying the brain patterns of pigs. But okay, so the next two that we're looking at: England, West Indies, and Australia, Sri Lanka.
England already had their bounce back match against Bangladesh, right? That's
okay.
So West Indies, they rained out. I mean, West Indies, when their batting is working, they can score 400 that they showed in the warm-up. So I want to go with England. Okay. Even though I'd like the West Indies to win.
I mean, how is Gill doing? That's my question, because he was hurting his back, right? He couldn't really move. Like, this World Cup has a few different injuries, either caused by play or pre-existing condition or field, but Old age. Wow. Yeah. I don't know how old you are, brother. But Chris is a performer, so I'm hoping he comes through. So that may take and play. England's been consistent. As I said before, consistency does play out. It doesn't mean you'll win all the time, but if your pieces that you put in place, all the little tidbits, the planning goes into place and execution's there, they may be able to perform. So let's see what England does. But West Indies versus England, you're going for West Indies? Or England?
I'm going with England.
Okay, so West Indies, let's see what you guys do. It may turn out the other way, and your points table-wise, you're up there. So if you do have a win, it sort of puts you in a better position, right? Because you get 5 points, and then you go jump up to the top. On the other hand, if New Zealand, and that means also New Zealand doesn't win against India, that's a good match to look at. Aussie versus another Aussie, so they're playing 2 matches in a week, versus Sri Lanka. And they're tied for 4 points apiece. Sri Lanka is on the losing end. They've lost.
So, if it wasn't apparent, Sri Lanka has been really underperforming. Their only win was against Afghanistan, I want to say.
Yeah.
And Afghanistan's at the bottom of the table. So them beating the Australians, highly unlikely, but I've been wrong before. So I'm just going to go with, my gut feeling. Australia's going to hopefully,
So I guess I'm riding the South Asian or the non European Western. I guess whatever it is. Let's see what Sri Lanka does. What they were doing in versus Afghanistan. I just think Afghanistan doesn't have a bad batting order, and they have a lot of a strong back, because what they've shown us in the warm-up matches is they can pull through with their lower order of batting, right? Which is good for a team that wants to sort of perform at that crunch time, right? That's the do or die kind of situation, and they'll pull through. We get all our streamers sort of giving us tweets in there. I would say if you guys are not signed into our Instagram channel, sort of link up, put your comments in, and we'll be posting some of the videos for the BTS on there. But check it out. So guys, again, it's that time again for us to sign off. This is again One Team, One Dream with Ali and Salman. Salman, you're gonna sign us off this episode.
Yeah, signer, guys.
Peace and love. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share our video. Thanks. Peace.